Hello everyone, my name is Andy Milner and I am the band director at Paintsville Independent Schools in Paintsville, Kentucky. And if you would like to find out more about our band program, you can visit us at myspace.com/PaintsvilleBand. We're going to be going through lesson 4, dealing with notation, out of this book right here, Master Theory by Charles S. Peters and Paul Yoder. I'm going to go ahead and begin. Again, lesson 4 is on notation. We know of notation as just doing something as writing, and that's exactly what this is. So how do you write music? We, of course, begin with our staff. Okay, and we don't really need a clef for right now. It asks that you know that this is a line whole note and that this is a space whole note. Realize that this is a whole note without a staff or whatever. If you see this, interpret this symbol as a whole note. Okay? And as a whole note. And of course, it is on a line and this is on a space. Notice where the center of the whole note is. It's happening right here in the space or right here in the line. Also notice that the circle does not go, if it's on the space, does not go on the lines here. Because if it did, someone may misinterpret that as being on the line. And notice this does not come up to the next lines. Okay, it is split directly in the middle. That's very important. A lot of kids, they'll write circles all over the place, and they'll be big, or too tiny or whatever. It doesn't work that way. You need to try to make these as proportionate as possible. And then it's asking you to know where to put these whole notes in conjunction with their spaces, their lines and spaces according to their pitch. For instance, we take a staff. We should already know from the previous lesson that this in treble clef is an E. Why? Because we start with every good boy deserves fudge. And as we go along, that's going to happen. And then we should know that this is an F because this begins face, F-A-C-E. And it's really asking you to identify whole notes that happen in those locations. So if I have this is a whole note on E. Okay? And if I have one here, guess what? That is a whole note on E. All right, why? Because I went F-A-C-E. So that is a whole note on E. It is, what's the difference between these two notes here? It's simply the one is lower than the other. They're the same note, yet they are separated by what we call an octave. And we'll get more into that later. Just know that they are the same note, yet one does sound higher than the other. So that is an octave. Now, it's showing you, I don't have to go through here and put a whole note on every single line in space. That would be redundant. Just know that anywhere that there is a letter name, there can be a whole note. And if you see the whole note, wherever it's located, like that, it's the middle of it's in the line, then you just go through and you know it's on a line and you go every good boy, and we identify that as B. All right. Let's see. That's pretty much it. That's the gist of that. So we're just going to go on and complete the assignment.
All right, lesson 4, notation. Notes are the symbols placed on the lines and in the spaces of the staff to make music. This is a line whole note. And it sits on a line. A space whole note on a space. Treble clef, space whole notes, Okay, all of those are on spaces, and then all of these are on lines, line whole notes. Okay, bass clef, same way. All of the spaces have whole notes placed on them, and then all of the lines, so the spaces and the lines. And then as we go over here, they're kind of giving you a key. I don't think it's necessary, but if you need it to refer to when you're doing the assignment down at the bottom, notice that as the pitches go up, all right, they're simply just drawing whole notes going up, just like that. Okay, and they're doing the same thing for bass clef. We should already know the lines and spaces for treble and bass clef. All right, student assignment. Write 6 line whole notes. So even though that they don't have a staff, remember I told you what a whole note is. You do not have to have a staff to have a whole note. This is just one line. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a whole note, show you what that looks like on the line. Remember, draw the middle of it. The line, make it go through the middle of the whole note. So we've got to draw 6 of these. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay? And then draw 6 space whole notes. Remember, to create a space, we have to have 2 lines. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and draw our whole note inside of there. 6 of them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? That's exactly how you do it. Number 3, draw the treble clef sign and write the letter name under each whole note. That is a 2-part command. The first part being draw the treble clef sign. So remember how we did that? We start from the bottom, go over, and we curl back inward, and then we start to circle around that G line. Okay? And now we have to write the letter name under each whole note. So in order to do that, I have to identify whether it's a line or a space. So this is a line, and I go every good. This is a space, F. This is a space, F-A. Line, every good. That is a line. Every good boy. Space, F-A. Space, F-A-C. Line, every good boy. Line, every good boy deserves. Space, F-A-C. Space, F-A-C-E. Line, every good boy deserves. Line, every good boy deserves. Fudge. Right. That's all of them for treble clef. And then, of course, we do the same thing for bass clef. It's asking you to draw it. So I'm going to go over here and draw that. Remember, it's sort of like a half of a heart with 2 dots with that line right there, the F, in the middle. Okay, now we are in bass clef. So we have to identify what this is. It is a line. So what do we use for the line? George Bush. Space. So all. Space. All cows. Line. George Bush. Line. George Bush doesn't. Space. All cows. Space. All cows eat. Line. George Bush doesn't. Line. George Bush doesn't feed. Space. All cows eat. Space. All cows eat grass. Line. George Bush doesn't feed. And then line, George Bush doesn't feed Africa.